oh, Joe used to play football. Oh, shit, I give a fuck about you now.
Joe, buddy.
Yeah, and I'm like, bro, if you can get the hell out of my face. Oh, Joe, so how's it going, brother? You played in the NFL. How was that? It was cool. I was still trying to kill myself.
Where I ask my guests, how did you do it and why?
Hey, this is Mark Howley, and welcome back to the Mark Howley Show. Today we got a young man by the name of Joe Barksdale on, and I know Joe's got a great story and one that is compelling. If you enjoy this story, we have episodes, quite a few of them, that you can look at on YouTube or listen to on Spotify, other streaming services. We're also on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and always any one of those subscribe or follow us. It's great help for us. And I guess that's about all. So right now I'm just going to say hello to Joe Barksdale. And what's up?
Thanks for having me, Mark.
You're very welcome.
Hello to you as well.
Thank you. Hey, Joe, now's the time you're supposed to say something. What the fuck? I'm getting stuck here. All right. Damn, Bridget, did you pick this guy? All right, now I'm going to start, Bridget, with my good opening question rather than asking him who he is. All right, so listen, I know that in your life you obviously a pro football player, then you've become a musician, a comedian. You talk about some of your depression, and I also noticed that you're involved with autism, which is one of my daughters is hugely involved in that. It's a big part of her life. So that's a pretty crazy transition in life to go from all those different things and end up a comedian. How the hell did that happen? I mean, where did that all get going?
Crazier transition. I'm actually in seminary now.
Are you really? Cool.
Yeah, I'm enrolled in. Should I say the school?
You say whatever you want to say.
I'm enrolled in Moody Bible College. They knew I was a comedian before they accepted me. May not be enrolled at the end of this video, but we'll see what happens.
Don't be like saying nice shit about the devil. That's all. You can't be doing that.
That's true. Yeah, no, I don't.
So anyway, all these different twists and turns. So, roughly, we'll touch on each one of them, but, how the hell does that happen with a young man like you?
Just delusion and optimism, man. Just, no. I think it's too simple to say that it's all circumstantial, but it kind of is. I mean, the circumstances that led to me playing football in the first place. I originally wanted to be an engineer. I got kicked out of engineering camp, needed something to do over the summer to stay out of trouble. Football camp was the only thing that wasn't full. That's how I got into, that's how I got into football.
So you must have been, on the subject of football, obviously you're a good football player, probably better than me. I played the position of scared. That's the position I played.
I played the same position.
Did you? You just had to fool them. So,
yeah.
You're a young kid, played in high school. At what point do you go like, holy shit, I could play this game? Because LSU is not the little kids. That's the big kids. So when does it hit you that I think I could play this game?
It never did. I think I was just always trying to get better.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was never, and it's something I was never happy with, like, where I was. I was never able to be the person. And this isn't, as I'm saying this, I know that there are people who would be like, oh yeah, he was never happy with where he was. That's how I got it. No, that's not good. Like, nothing I did was ever good enough. I mean, I was a suicidal parade All-American.
Mm-hmm.
I was a suicidal LSU Tiger. I was a suicidal NFL player.
Wow. And then so that's a struggle. That's a struggle. I mean, for me, I know that, I'm one of 8 from Philly, 4 older brothers who are like kick ass, they're like Harvard, neurologist, Penn, NYU, really smart guys. And then I come along and just party, and then get out of rehab, and just a lot of shame.
Mm-hmm.
And just feel, even to this day, feeling like I got to prove myself. So with you, I mean, so you get out of high school and now off you go to LSU. I mean, you don't know anything about Baton Rouge, right?
No, not at all. I knew that there was a teacher I had in high school that said, if you have the opportunity to go to college on somebody else's dime, go somewhere that you would not have gone, because this is one of the last times you'll be able to go somewhere somebody else pays for it. I took that to heart. Louisiana was one of the places I visited. I heard a lot about the state, never been, never experienced it. And, there were other factors in that equation too, but that was one of the bigger ones. It was some place that I'd never been, didn't have any family there or anything. It was a combination, I guess, of like bravery and ignorance.
Yeah, well, the ignorance is probably helpful. A little different world down there. I used to go around doing selling down there, and I used to play pickup hoops. I just loved playing pickup hoops, and they would say to me, is that a Yankee over there?
Oh,
and I'd be like, yeah, I'm a Yankee, and they go, what the hell are you doing here? And I used to say, I'm going to find a way out of here as quick as I can. I'm just trying to sell some shit and move on, So I imagine for a kid like you, it was, I guess you're fetade. Everybody's like, oh, you're a great football player. And then you got to deal with South.
It was weird, yeah. Like, it was like two different Souths. There was one that I had heard about in Detroit Public School, and then there was the one that I had experienced as a football player. And it was kind of weird because there's one weird thing about being an athlete that I think I've noticed early. People do treat you differently.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, strictly just because. And I mean, I noticed it a lot, like, coming up and, like I said, in college and the NFL. But I notice it even more now. Like, people who have pretty much, like, I don't know, man. Like, we're people. You know what it's like when someone else acts indignant towards you, or just treats you like you don't matter. Like, I've been places where dudes have just walked by and not even giving me a second glance, like 3 or 4 times. And then somehow, some way, football comes up, and it's like, oh, Joe used to play football. Oh, shit, I give a fuck about you now.
Joe, buddy.
Yeah, and I'm like, bro, if you don't get the hell out of my face, to be honest with you, that's when I bring up the suicide talk the most. Because it's a polite way of, I know it's this weird, that's how my brain works. It's my weird way of politely telling you to get the hell away from me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Scare him away.
No, I don't even know if it's scary. I look at it as like pulling out a dead body and just putting it on the table.
It would shut him
Someone's
up.
gonna walk away. Oh, Joe, so how's it going, brother? You played in the NFL. How was that? It was cool. I was still tried to kill myself. Like, yeah, bro.
You know who the other guy is? There's a guy on the Eagles, which of course is my heart and soul. And we'll get around to that with you, because I don't like these Detroit guys. This is not a good situation. Thank God their football team sucks for years on end. But anyway, no. Lane Johnson, offensive tackle. He left the game for like 5 games. Pretty well publicized in Philly that it was just anxiety. He's had to step out. Of course, as a guy watching this big strapping young man, but having been through it, I had real sympathy for him. I was like, wow, that must take a lot of courage to just say that out loud and walk away.
Yeah, it does.
It
does.
So tell me now that we're on the NFL game, and then we'll spin off to more personal subjects. Now you get drafted by, who is it? San Diego, right?
I got drafted by the Raiders.
Oh, okay. My apologies.
No, I was the problem. No.
Yeah. So now you show up there, and I mean, once again, this has got to be. Now you're playing with a whole different crowd.
I came in during came in right after that lockout.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't have like OTA, spring training, any of that. I remember my first time stepping on the field and thinking, like, I called my agent after practice. This game is too fast. These people are too strong. There's no way I'm gonna ever play here. Maybe they can just take the money, the signing bonus money back.
No.
I gotta go back to school. I said this on the phone. Like, it was incredibly intimidating for me, but it was a reset of that cycle I just talked about, just hating yourself and trying to get better.
Well, that's so sad in a way. I mean, I know the experience, but just, such a, it's just, look at you, handsome, big, strapping kid, got a great personality, and, and suffering with that. I'm just, I don't know, just.
Oh yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. Doesn't sound good, you know.
Yeah, it sucks.
It ain't the way you picked it.
No.
But so then when you get playing in the game, eventually, you know, just people start talking about you know, obviously you get comfortable with your skill sets.
No. I was I was just as afraid like my first time ever stepping on a football field as I was my last time.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
the fear, if anything, it just got worse because stakes were higher. You know, when you were a kid or when you were in high school, it was just personal pride. You know, in college, it's your future. And in the NFL, it's like, it's really your future. Like,
Yeah, yeah. And people are paying you.
yeah. So everything in your future is directly determined by what happens here today. And that is something that happened in my mind every day. Like during the season, off season. I mean, there were things that I wouldn't do, like laser tag or anything like that, because I would be afraid of getting injured, and I already thought I was a worthless piece of shit. So if I'm come back and I'm injured, I'm already in my mind, I'm already almost out the league anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
But,
I mean, now, sorry to harp on it so much, but it is something that people love to talk about. You know, I mean, the brute force. I mean, you know, of these other guys. I mean, I you know, the thing I always think. I mean, I can peel off for a minute. Are people giving each other shit?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, just like, you know, fuck you, you know, some guy across the line from you, or
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You don't become good at football by being a happy person. Yeah, you got a bunch of angry, sad people.
Yeah, yeah.
Sadness turns into anger. But I mean, okay, not everybody that plays football is sad, but you got, I mean, it takes, I don't know, like me and you sitting here right now, we're not in condition to just go run full speed into each other. It needs to be some anger, some emotion.
Look at what the size of these people are here.
Yeah, but that's a part of it, you know, same way it would be in any other aggressive sport, boxing, hockey, you know.
Then I always hear them, like, when they come off to the sidelines, kind of like, you know, well, we had chemistry and we did real good. And I'm thinking, I played men's lacrosse in college, had fun, you know, bashing around. But, you know, you're sitting around, you're thinking, John, the fuck is going on? You know, I mean, but obviously you don't see that. But I'm thinking, the young guys, they got to be saying, you know, what's that dickhead doing?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, there's still people.
Yeah.
And then all the things that people are saying that you would expect, those things are being said, just not in front of, you know, microphones on a podium.
Yeah, yeah. So a couple more. Who do you think's one of the best players you had to block or play up against?
Probably Joey Bosa and Chris Long for the same reason.
Holy shit! They're kind of not names we've heard.
Yeah, yeah. Just these two random dudes. I don't know if you've ever. But
Are you kidding me? Who was it? How Long got? He ended up. We won a Super Bowl with his ass. We'll never forget him.
Yeah, they both made me better players, but also just like better people in general, because they were already really good, and like they were always getting better. And so if they're always getting better, you got to always get better if you want to keep blocking them. And those kind of things now have translated over into my life in terms of it changed my motivation from like, oh, I hate myself, I got to get better, to like, oh, here's someone I'm competing with. Here's a different, more healthier reason to start getting better. They both gave me that. And it was really, it's really hard for me to like hit friends, and I think that was difficult too. Like when I became friends with each of them, it added like an extra layer of difficulty to practice, just because like, you know, like, you want to win, but also, I don't know, you like also compassionate for the person you're going against. I don't know, it's weird. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, well, only in the sports that I played, you know, obviously not at your level, but, you know, you start getting to know people that you're playing against, and, you know, they're trying to play and you're trying to play, and then, you know the guy, and I don't know, it's just normal. You know, you have a little more compassion.
Yeah.
You know, especially the ones that are just God-given better than you. You know, that's always, to me, that was one of the most humbling things. Just, you know, God damn, the guy's just faster than me. You know, I try like hell. I just can't catch up to the son of a bitch. And, you know, I found that to be actually rather beautiful, in that it was just a humbling, and knowing that, God makes some people and just drops them down here, and they're just fantastic. You know?
And then there's mistakes like me.
See,
there's
the man
beta
just
test.
can't stop it. That's why he came on. You know, he's like, who the fuck wants me on that show?
You know what's funny? I think that whenever anybody reaches out for a podcast, I'm like, oh, must be scraping the bottom of the barrel now. Like, because I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'll ever see myself that way now that we're talking about it. I mean, I'm 35. Like, I don't know if I'll ever see myself that way.
You know, and that's actually, a twisted way, that's healthy. It's very healthy. A perspective on yourself that maybe it's not the pretty one you want, but, our culture likes.
It's not the pretty one that everyone wants you to have.
Yeah. So it's pretty much now off that damn game of football. I mean, who cares? A couple accomplishments, couple tackles, couple fall downs, and now you decide to leave it. Mm-hmm. And you were still a pretty successful guy. I mean, you think you could have kept playing, right? Mm-hmm. Walk away from money and some fame and the limelight, and did you find that relieve you, or did you find it a little funky too?
A little bit of both. Uh-huh. The relief is that in your mind, I have a future. This isn't it for me. I'll be happy I did this one day. But then there's also the unknown, because you are stepping out into the dark. There is no, there's no blueprint. Everybody's different, which means everybody's path is different. And this could not work,
Nobody knows when that ends.
Right.
We don't. I'm 64 and I'm still trying to figure out what the hell I want to do. Mm-hmm. I know that the path I walked, you only get to walk one. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I can look back and go, oh, there's Mark on B path. Mm-hmm. You just look and go, I guess that's the one I got, and I like it.
Yeah.
When I look back, what else am I going to do? Say it sucks? No, that's that. Well, sometimes it did suck.
There's parts of it that suck, but it's also, you're right, it's directly responsible for making you the man that you are, who you are.
Yeah. So, I met this guy once at my gym, huge guy. So I'll talk to anybody. He walks in and I'm like, man, you're big, and he goes, he doesn't think himself that way. And I go, you had to do something with a body that size. I mean, and he says, yeah. I was an offensive tackle for the Jets, and he had made some money. And I said, what a difficult thing to transition. And he goes, yeah, it is. And I said, so what's the game plan now? And he says, well, my wife's here because I got to cut weight. He says, I got to cut a lot of weight. And if my wife will bitch at me, and she'll make me cut weight. And I heard that before, but I thought, damn, guy's big as hell, but I could see that, he'd be a fat guy quite quick, So what do you do? What'd you do? Just eat cookies, or not cookies? Just drink water for like 3 years?
I started doing heroin, actually.
Meth is better, actually. It'll burn your ass up quicker.
Yeah, this one, the heroin, the slow cooker. I'm
Start running out of veins.
Yeah, and at that point,
pick up a sleeve.
But that's how I knew. It was time to stop. I ran out of veins. I'm like, okay, we've hit a manageable weight. We can just remain here and microdose. Yeah. So, in fact, I'm going to have to get up in about 5 minutes.
That's what we got here for you. That's what we got here. We got the works. We got everything. We're a good host.
I think what it was for me was like, the more that I learned about the body, I can't learn about the right way to do things and not keep that in the back of my head. Mm-hmm. So like, when I learned about the body and like the things that it needs and the things I wasn't giving it, and like how you're supposed to eat and what your place is supposed to look like, I think it was just time, trial and error. I mean, on top of like, I started getting into this in the latter parts of my NFL career. But that realizing that like exercise is important to me. Once I started going to the gym for my mental health, that's when I was able to be the most. That's when I was able to like be effortlessly consistent. It's not to say I wasn't consistent before, but I don't know. Some days you don't care about how you look, and I'm not going to eat right or whatever. But I had this psychiatrist that I worked with who's retired now, but he used to say that. I was at the time I was talking to him about trying to quit candy or sugar. And he's just like, I just challenge you to observe how you feel after you eat some of these things. And, at first I'm like, man, whatever.
I feel good. I want more.
Yeah. And after a while, it started to hit me like, yeah, I do feel more dehydrated, and there is never enough candy. Like, you can eat candy forever, or, certain things.
I'm still horrible. Give me a box of Milk Duds. I'm powering through them.
It's hard. Yeah.
Or ice cream. I think if you left a gallon of ice cream, I just eat right through it.
It tastes too good not to. It tastes too good not to.
I heard this woman once, this very heavyset woman said that it's the only thing that nobody will love me, and it's the only thing that gives me unconditional love. I could eat food, and it just gives me something, and it won't yell at me, it won't do anything. And I thought that was so sad because I thought, wow, she had a gallon of ice cream, and it.
Oh, that's what we're all looking for as humans. I mean, we look for it in different ways, but like we're all looking for unconditional love. Some people look for it in like glory and fame and success. Some people look for it in food. Some people look for it in drugs. Some people look for, there's a bunch of different things, but at the end of the day, you're looking for unconditional love because you know yourself.
Yeah, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, and there's a part of you that like, you want someone else to love you. But at the same time, if they knew you like you knew you, they never would.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect transition, actually. Let's talk about the church.
No, go for it. We're all over it. No, honestly, I want this to flow for you. Not, listen, I was scraping the bottom of the barrel to get you here, so what the hell? Ruin it.
So, yeah, okay. Well, if that's the case, yeah, that's what we're all looking for.
Yeah, so go for it.
Yeah, that's what we're all looking for. And in reality, there's only one place you can get it. The problem is, when people start talking about God, the one true source of unconditional love, because who knows you better than a God that created you? You want that love, but then there's also like, but if there is a God, then that also means that like I don't have claims to my life anymore, and I don't want God's hands on my life, which is weird though, because if there is a God that created everything, wouldn't he know?
Yeah, he's got it all figured out. Well, now we're getting philosophical. Now it's getting out of control, but we'll get there. I went to Catholic school all my life, right?
Okay.
And now after I finally said I put the sword away. It's a huge institution. It's got big time problems, but it's given a shitload of people comfort for many years, and I think some in that the world's better from the whole thing. But I guess Martin Luther, that son of a bitch with the 95 things he stuck on a wall, he caused all sorts of problems with that. Everybody got pissed at him, other than non-Catholics. But anyway, his concept, if I have it right, was kind of like this predestination idea that you are brought to the earth, and to some extent, God, Jesus Christ, has predetermined or given you a predestination. And that was wildly against what the Pope had to say. So the only way to handle that is catch him and burn him. That's what we thought was a good thing to do, but they didn't catch him. So I guess in that end, you're saying, wow, I don't know if I want to give it up, because what's going to come? And then you fall back and go, well, was this all figured out ahead of time in a weird way?
It's the whole I don't want to give it up thing is the same lie that Satan hit Adam and Eve with in the garden. You can't trust God. That's it. At the end of the day, you don't trust God. If God exists and God is who he says he is, and all these things are true, well, you don't trust him. But I think that's a bigger issue, because that mistrust, there's a lot of people that are subconsciously angry at God that don't even know it,
I was for a while, that's for damn sure.
Same here.
And
then I know my brain's all over the place.
Go for it. No, just let it roll. Let it roll.
I just you talked about the woman who, with the eating problem. I don't think a lot of people realize that your stomach is like one of the main places that you metabolize serotonin. And so,
really,
yeah, like eating addictions are just as much of an addiction as anything else. Because your stomach metabolizes serotonin. That is where a lot of these eating issues come from.
So now back to God. Does God create, the person who's going to eat too much, or is it free will? What is it?
Mm-hmm. There's a theologian named Tim Keller, who's no longer with us, but and I agree with him, it's both. If you read Romans 8, where Paul talks about, God working all things for the good of those who love him. Like, there's a plan, and you do have like free will. Your choices matter, but at the same time, like, God is weaving them into a plan for history that will ultimately end in the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. And even when you say called, that's part of the predestination thing too, because it's already happened, even though the people who are reading it, weren't alive when it was written.
Yeah.
But that's one of the big sources of hope, especially in Christianity, that, if everything works together, then that means that nothing happens by happenstance or just because. And if everything works together, that means that you have a purpose, you have intrinsic value as a human being. And it also means that you can not relax, but like, I think that my life in some weird ways, like, is a testament to that,
Well, it's almost like a give and a take. Here you get all these God-given skills, and then you get laid on with a really challenging emotional thing or a psychiatric thing. So it's like this give and take going on.
Yeah, I agree.
What was the other thing? When we, like when you go into rehab, they're like, do you believe in God? And I'm like, fuck no, because life had turned to shit. And then they say, okay, how about this? Do you believe anybody else believes in God? So I'm like, yeah, Father Flynn. And they go, well, let's just start with that. You believe that he believes. We'll work from there. And I thought, isn't that a cool way to look at it? And I was like, okay, I'll go in with that. I believe he was a truly holy man, touched by an angel or touched by God. No judgment. And I remember he's once said to me, I said, oh, I must have been 55, and I went back there for my first confession. I never do confession. But I was sitting down with him for like 2 hours and talking about my life. I've been married for all these years. I have a business. I have 5 daughters. I've been as good and loving a father as I can. And I constantly have this guilt that I'm not doing it right. Like, I'm not doing Jesus right. I'm not doing Catholicism right. And he was just like so cool about it. No judgment. He's like, Mark, it's a gift of faith, and some of us, it comes very easy, but it is a gift. You don't get to just take it. You have to work to it. And I think that's true. I mean, do you think that's true?
Maybe you need to rephrase it. Because
let's say this.
Well, I'm just saying, I've never.
Could I? Well, now you're going to make me go to seminary. But anyway, could I? Could God just call me to him, and I would then say, "Oh, this is a gift from God," and then some people just don't get the gift.
So you can't earn a gift. I've never earned a gift in my life. Like, I've never received, because you can't. Like, that's the thing about a gift. Like, you if you could earn it, it would be reimbursement or some type of reciprocity. But in terms of the faith being a gift, it's a very humbling thing. I mean, the entire religion of Christianity, specifically, like, if God became a human and, died for us in order to redeem us, how bad are we? That's a negative evaluation of every single human being that's ever lived, ever will live. You are so bad that the Son of God had to come and die for you.
It's got a little bit of Catholicism in that, but that's their fault of human beings got that all screwed up.
Yeah, but if that's the case, and someone else had to do it for you, there's nothing you can do outside of accept that gift anyway. And that's it breaks down pride. Only the humble can accept that, because only a humble person can admit that, like, yes, I'm a flawed human being.
Yeah, it's not a lot of fun to think of.
It's not, but nothing worth doing is easy.
So now let's roll back. Screw that. I want to hear a little bit more of this. So you decide to go into the seminary.
Mm-hmm.
So now all of a sudden you came off. We'll get into the musician and comedian, because that's another piece of this thing. But I'm just trying to think about this. Something plinks in your brain, and you go, "I'm going to go in the seminary." And you're like, "Okay, I'm going to do it." So now you head off and be a monk somewhere and sit in some building in a dark hall?
No, I enrolled. Tim Keller was one of the big guys like Tim Keller. There's a preacher named Tony Evans. They were big influences on that. But the biggest thing for me, I'll speak on Tim Keller for now. Tim Keller did something for me that no one else was able to. He made Jesus beautiful. Like, a bunch of people try to scare you into, believing in God or obeying God. Tim Keller's approach was more intellectual and more emotional. If God is real, the fairy tales are true. One day, everything sad will come untrue. One day, all those kind of things. But even more than that, like I said, the whole making Jesus beautiful thing, and it got me to understand that, fear of God, actually being afraid of God is not what leads to a relationship with God or, peace, that kind of thing. It's loving God that leads to the obedience and the peace and all that. Because, someone that you're afraid of, you're just waiting until something scarier comes along and you're going to switch allegiance.
Yeah, you jump ship.
Yeah, but someone that you love, 9 times out of 10, they don't even have to ask you to do something. You're asking them, how can I, show you that I love you? What can I do to show you that it's different.
Yeah, I had the benefit, I think tons of people have it. I had 2 parents that unconditionally loved me. No questions. No hands down. Yeah, I got punished by my old man and mom, but I knew what I was doing wrong. But I always knew that, in the end, that they loved me, and that was kind of my vision of what might have been, like a God. You're unconditional. So if I go up there, why would I think that at least that is the equivalent of heaven? At its minimum, that there's somebody up there, and, in this instance, it's Jesus Christ, and he loves me like a father, or a father should.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have those types of experiences as a young man? Did you have a mother and father that, you would say unconditionally loved you?
Sometimes I always grew up with the fear of messing up. I don't know. Things were always better when I was performing, when things were going well. People were proud to, be my parents and, that kind of thing. And when things weren't going well, I was worthless. No one was proud of me. What's my point? What's the point of me being here? I've always felt that way. Even to this day, I know that if I wasn't performing or, doing, I don't know what unconditional love is.
Well, a lot of people don't. I do. And as best I can understand it, I suspect there's more. Now let me circle back. We're not circle back. We didn't get here yet. How the hell am I circling back? Let me keep going.
Okay.
So now football's over. We haven't gone to the seminary yet, but if I got the steps right, you choose to become a musician.
Mm-hmm.
And what pushes you there?
It seemed It was a great method of self-expression. It was something that I loved doing that I was also getting better at daily. It was fantastic in every way. I was confident enough at the time that I was ready to take the next step to start performing live, and that was one of the main reasons I retired, was because, a lot of the big festivals and stuff like that, they happen during camps, during the summer and the fall, and I wanted to start really getting into it, and I retired to be available for that kind of stuff, and then there was a pandemic.
Now, let me say, presuming the rock business is not quite as doesn't quite make you the cash that you do playing pro football.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a career. Yeah, for me, it was like, like I said, a career, method of self-expression and that kind of thing. I wasn't doing it for like the money. But yeah, that door got slammed in my face. COVID happened, and that was really hard for me.
Well, especially given your disposition, now all of a sudden you can't go out there and express yourself. So now you're sitting alone with you.
Yeah.
And I was told once, inside your brain's a bad neighborhood. Just don't go there.
At all.
Stay away from it.
At all, yeah. And you're right, especially with COVID and everything happening. And you're right. You're just sitting there with your thoughts, like, you idiot. What are you doing? What have you done? This is everyone who ever said anything bad about you was right. Look at this. You could still be playing right now. Anyway, if I'm being honest, I'm still moving past it. Even as we talk about it right now, like, as much as I would like to say that those are thoughts that I had, like, they're thoughts I still have.
Yeah.
Like, you worthless piece of shit. You got to be the dumbest. But
What an evil thought to have in your mind, and it's just so painful. The times I've had it, just lying around in bed, just lying there, just thinking, not even acknowledging that you have a loving wife, you have loving kids, nothing.
yeah.
Just rolling around, just beating the shit out of yourself. Were you? So the music stops, for lack of a better term. But you're still playing it at home and just trying to get yourself some solace from it.
Sometimes, yeah. But even that I was doing it, you're right, yeah, to try to find solace and all that, but all I would find was like more condemnation and shame and guilt and regret. So I had to stop completely. I mean, I played guitar. I walked up to the praise and worship pastor at the church I'm at now, and like, just to volunteer. This was after church Sunday, this past Sunday. That was my first, and he asked me, like, did you have any music or anything like that? And I played him 2 songs I wrote, and that was my first time playing guitar in like 2 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just dropped it, put it down. Who would you say were influential in your choosing a genre?
Jimi Hendrix, Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin, Sly Stone, the Allman Brothers.
Well, you're digging back into some of the old traditionals.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, they were well, a little bit more getting into my age.
Yeah.
The Allman Brothers. They didn't Marvin Gaye get killed?
Yeah, his dad shot him.
Yeah, that's so sad. I remember that. I can't remember where he was from. Was he from Philly?
Somewhere in the East Coast, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I just can't remember where he's from. And then the Allman Brothers, a bunch of them started dying off, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Right
as the band started making it. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that was a bummer.
Yeah.
That was a bummer. So you're listening to those folks, and then you're just starting to say, I kind of want to be like them. You just start playing and plucking away, or you're just by ear.
No. I took lessons.
Did you?
Mm-hmm. I knew from like, after I started learning about like Hendrix and some of the things that he was doing and how it related to like jazz comping and theory and that kind of thing. It was like, well, you want to be able to, improv like this, or whatever. You got to be able to know the theory. So I did the hard work of learning music theory, and yeah.
And then you're out. Then you're out playing little small bars and shit like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You get to play. Did you ever get a chance to play in some environment that you thought was more maybe intimidating or exciting than another one?
No, because the shows honestly were just like football, like scared to death before each one, but it was like a different kind of fear. Not like, oh my God, everything's riding on this. It's just more like, ooh, hope I do a good job, that kind of thing. I guess more the normal fear that people experience. But yeah.
But something's pushing you to go out there. Something's pushing you. A good thing, I would say.
I need to feel like I have a purpose. And it's hard to feel like you have a purpose if you're just sitting on your ass at home every day.
That's a fact.
Because people can say what they want about, oh, well, if I would just be at home all the time. People love talking about what they do in situations that they'll never be in.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been able to, like people say, I just sat around all day and streamed some show. I'm like,
I would legitimately kill myself.
Yeah.
Like, I can't sit around and do nothing day after day after day after day. Like, that's just not how I'm built.
Yeah.
On top of, you touched on it earlier, I can't be alone with the thoughts in my head for that long, doing nothing,
Well, the only problem is when you're feeling that way, it's like a sack of, it's like having an ungodly weight on your shoulders trying to, how the hell do I get up and move this thing?
Yeah, that's true too. And I found one or two responses to that. I either take some pre-workout or I go back to sleep and try again in a couple hours. One of those tends to work. But
Getting to the gym is a good emotional release.
I didn't want to, but I had to work out this morning for that reason. Yeah, because I knew I would feel different if I didn't. Yeah, it's a really good emotional release.
I work out every day, probably, nothing hardcore, but maybe 45, 50 minutes on an elliptical, jump in the steam. Oh, steam is my heaven. And then sauna. And, people go, oh, don't you stay healthy? I'm like, stay healthy. It's up top that's getting fixed, not down below.
Yeah.
Just searching for an endorphin, kick. So wait a minute, you worked out this morning. Did you run or what the hell did you do?
They actually had some good stuff at the gym. It was my last leg day of the week, so I said it like I do 5 leg days. It was my second leg day of the week. And they had dumbbells, so I did dumbbell RDLs, 4 sets of 12. They had a little leg press machine, so I did 4 sets of 20 on that. Then I did some calf raises. Then I did some goblet squats. And then I got on the treadmill for 30 minutes.
Squats, what the hell are they?
Goblet squats is when you hold the dumbbell like this.
Oh yeah,
Squat
okay,
down.
I've seen that. Yeah, okay.
I would demonstrate, but this isn't a fitness class.
I go to see this guy, I do the gym, and then I go to see this guy who does all this band stuff with me, and it's really hard. Yesterday, he kicked my ass, and I was like, age is a difficult thing. So you get into my age, and I used to mountain bike all the time. Then I started eating it. Like shoulders and all, because all of a sudden you start realizing, my reaction time isn't there. Like I'll come into a turn and all of a sudden I'll be like, whoa, and then you eat it.
Yes.
Now you're like, God damn, why am I doing this? My wife's bitching at me. Everybody's bitching at me. Why are you doing it? I still do it. It gives me this adrenaline release.
Yeah.
But and then as age goes on, like yesterday, son of a bitch has me doing these squats. And I'm like, fuck, so I do them. And then I used to, but you're 64 and you're thinking, the guy says, do another one. Somehow I think he's like the coach, and I'm staring at him. I got to do 10. What can you do? I'm like, you're 64. What the fuck? You don't have to do anything. Lo and behold, I do. Lo and behold, my back hurts this morning. And I'm thinking to myself, lo and behold, I get up. This is how stupid I am. I'm like, why the hell does my back hurt? Motherfucker. I'm like, I look in the mirror and I think, you idiot, you lifted all this shit and you're 64. What are you doing? And then you're listening to the guy. You're like, what the fuck is that?
Sometimes you gotta learn the hard way.
Yeah. And then they got me doing these things. And it's screaming at me. And I'm thinking, just stop. You're not, who are you trying to prove this to? And, I guess it's a good thing and a bad thing, but age just slowly wears your ass down.
It does.
So now we roll from musician to comedian. That's a big step. Why the fuck did you do that?
It was an even pure form of self-expression besides music. I've never been able to communicate with people. I didn't say that earlier when we were talking about music. High-functioning autistic person, also on the clinically depressed. It's hard. That's another reason we were talking earlier about how I just lie to people about how I'm doing. There's things that I want to communicate these days, and if I don't get it across in either a joke or like something ministry related, I don't even have the energy to want to anymore. So like when it comes to, I mean, a lot of personal things, it's like, I'd rather talk about this because I feel like you'll at least be able to understand this. But that's kind of how I got into, that's not kind of how I got into comedy. That's how I got into comedy. The music thing happened. Now that we're talking about it, it wouldn't have happened without music. Because I retired, there was COVID happened, you know. Man of my word, I said I was done. I'm done. I'm not gonna be that dude that retires, comes back, retires, comes back. No, you know.
And you feel you made a comfortable enough money that you didn't have to. You could afford to take some time.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know how to say. I wasn't doing anything else. COVID. It was COVID. There was nothing else happening. There was a comedy show.
So telling your jokes to the wall?
Oh, no. Okay, I wasn't doing anything else. There was COVID. I went to a comedy show. I went to 2 comedy shows within like a week because those were the first things that started opening back up, and both of them like underwhelmed me severely. And I was like, I can at least try, and I mean, at least until music things open back up, I can try.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time music things started opening back up, I was so into comedy that it took away from the music time. So,
and aren't you doing a comedy down in Austin?
Mm-hmm.
Still doing it down there?
No, I'm in Detroit now.
Yeah, because I remember I listened to a YouTube or something, and you were like north or west of Austin. I can't remember, somewhere a little, maybe off the completely. I think a little off the main drag.
Oh, where it was recorded? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I recorded a special at Roscoe's Comedy Club in Austin.
Okay, huh? And by doing a special, did somebody give you money, or did you just do a special?
No, different people do it for different reasons. Same reason, like it's like dropping an album. I did it as a proof of concept to be able to have footage to just show like,
yeah, here's what I do.
Yeah.
Just like you're filming football or you're
Yes.
filming anything,
Mm-hmm.
Here I am, they listen to it and they go, yeah, we ain't drafting that guy.
Yeah, no. The effort's there, but golly, the execution.
Can I ask you a question? Why didn't you play football? Just curious. I mean,
You've got the frame. Has anyone ever told you this?
I mean, you're a little old. What the fuck? Go try and make a buck.
Yeah, you probably got a snap or 2 in you, but hey, it'll be 2 fun plays.
What the hell? Yeah. So now, anyway, autism.
Mm.
Like I said, my daughter works with that. But you're saying, obviously, you're high functioning autistic, or you wouldn't be sitting here with me. When did that diagnosis come about?
COVID.
Really?
Golly, COVID really just ruined my life. God,
It's got you all fucked up.
It really does. But yeah, COVID. I remember talking to my therapist about, kind of the same things I was telling, this is COVID. I retired to the music. COVID happened. It's cool though, because I don't have to be, I remember saying this to her, like, well, it's cool though, because I don't have to be around people and no one's going to know anymore. She's like, know what? And I'm like, I just feel like whenever I'm around other people, I do what humans are supposed to do. But I feel like one day someone's going to figure out that I'm not like them. Like I'm not a human. And
that's a fascinating, fascinating is unsettling, but it's real.
Yeah.
You ain't the only one. That was one thing. I used to drive up and back on this 405 to work. And then, I just looked at everybody else and thought, look at all those happy motherfuckers, And then I got to my therapist and he would say, what makes you think that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. And then he would say, Mark, do you know why I can't see you in 3 weeks? He goes, because I got people every hour between then and now. Why do you think I have that? And even he said that. And I got in the car driving up 405 and I thought everybody was better than me.
Now that's why I'm going to seminary.
Uh-huh.
because I don't feel like the church has done the best job of helping people like us.
No, they haven't.
And I can't sit around and complain about it anymore. I need to be a part of the solution, not part of, as opposed to complaining about the problem. But I've yet to be in a church situation where mental health or mental illness comes up and people don't. Mental illness, whoa, I mean.
He doesn't see God. He's not with the Lord.
What do you mean you're not rejoicing in the Lord always? Oh, can we go back to the Old Testament where Elijah is praying for God to kill him?
Yeah.
Moses prayed for God to kill him?
And then Job got...
prayed for God. I mean, there's countless times. I mean, people don't want to talk about it, though. And I get it. Like, even the things that I'm telling you about, like Psalm 88, I've heard one sermon in my entire life.
Tell me what Psalm 88 is. I don't know the fan.
It's one of the only Psalms that doesn't end on a note of hope or happiness. Like, it ends with, like, I'm paraphrasing here. Talking to God. You left me alone. I'm hopeless. Darkness is my only friend. The end. That's the end. But those kind of, like that, there's a realism to Christianity that Christians don't want to acknowledge. And that is that, people sometimes because of their effectiveness in service, and sometimes for other reasons, they get suicidally depressed.
Yeah. I mean, well, there ain't no shortage of it.
But like, with it being in the Bible, if the Bible is God's, I say a lot of ifs because of the apologetics and the theology.
Whatever, just say if. We're not exactly. There's no grade here.
Okay.
Bridget, delete out all the ifs.
All the ifs. We're only certain on this podcast. There is no gray area. But it's just funny though. That's how my brain works. There is no gray area. That's a whole nother.
There is. Well, that's
It's black and white. Yeah. But if this is God's God-breathed word, then these things that I was just talking about that no one wants to touch on, they're still just as important as everything else. And in the bigger scheme, they were important enough to be mentioned and put in there. But a lot of people, like, mental illness, like you said, lack of faith, I mean, it's hard to... There's this saying in AA that only an alcoholic can help an alcoholic.
Yeah, it's true. It's
true.
I
feel the same way about, like, mentally ill people.
Yeah,
like,
there's just, I don't know. I don't know. You just, the way you think, the way you're compulsive, the way you just don't know how to do anything. And, look, I got 5 kids, okay? That's because I'm compulsive and I'm addictive. I made Bridget and I'm like, damn, that was fun. Fun making it. And God, she's cute. I'm going to make another one. And that's good. And I go, damn, that was fun. I just kept making them until I ran out of age, and then my wife was like, maybe we'll adopt a kid. I'm like, what? But anyway, so that's just, that personality is something that a lot, if you speak to somebody who has had that, you lock in.
Well, and on top of that too, I would argue, like, even like with you and I, if someone that had no idea what you were talking about came up to you and tried to encourage you, what would you tell them? Like, bro, get the hell away from me. You don't even know what you're talking about.
Gee, thanks, asshole. Thanks a lot, asshole. Great. How about this? Happy dick.
But I do think that's one of the reasons I'm here. And I do think that it took a long time for me to figure that out. But nobody cares more about helping hurting people than I do, because I'm a hurting person.
Well, that's so true. You feel it.
Yeah.
You know it. And that's, you can hear it in your voice, and it's a level of humility. I can hear a little bit of that, well, clearly you've said it, I'm not good enough. I got to be better. And, I'm not going to talk it out of you. I don't want to talk you out of it. Who the hell knows what you're going to become? You become some evil son of a bitch. I don't know.
True. So Joe took over the world.
Holy shit, I just convinced him he's attacking me.
It's like, what, you're right. I am great. Great enough to
kick your ass.
Yeah.
So now autism, what does somebody say? Like, dude, you seem weird. Or pardon anybody's autistic. I mean, my daughter would kill me. But I mean, is
There's
somebody
no such
just
thing
saying
as
it
normal.
to you? No, but in some way or another, you're diagnosed, I presume.
Oh yeah. The conversations with my therapist led to her referring me to a specialist. I was diagnosed at 30. I do everything late in life. Maybe one day I'll succeed later in life.
You will. You will. You know what? But they're throwing a shitload of roadblocks at you. They're making you climb some shit.
You ain't lying. But you know what? And that's part of life. The reality is like, no one ever grew from success. It's suffering and failure that makes you who you are. And no one wants to do it. I get that. But there are certain things that you don't learn outside of suffering and pain.
Yeah. You know, they say, like a friend of mine used to say, when you're, you know, there's these like romantic concepts of like, oh, I'm stuck in the desert and the pain is somehow helping to enlighten me. And my buddy's like, no, when you're in the desert, you know what you want? Get the fuck out of the desert. That's all you care about.
That's
you know,
all, yeah.
Have a cup of water and get the hell out of here. And I think.
And you want to slap the hell out of anybody that walks by you, actually rides by you on a camel drinking water. It's going to be okay. God gives his strongest battles to his strongest war.
Come on.
We're going to be praying for you. Can I get some water? You don't need it.
I can start drinking my piss. I mean, come on. You know, what am I going to do here?
They're not judge you for doing that. Oh, it looks like someone's lost a victory here.
Eat the sand.
No, you idiot!
Yeah, what are you can't wait on the Lord? No. But yeah, you're right. Like people, everybody. It's what I said earlier. Like humans have this way of like injecting what they would do into situations that they'll never be in. How many people will tell you right now what they would do if they were president of the United States, GM of this sports team? Blah, blah, blah. How about you tell me what you're going to do about your DUI, Chad?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
Let's stop all these phantasmagorical arguments about, what ifs and all that. Like,
you got something right in front of you here.
You're being arrested as you're telling me about how to fix my life. Like, there's what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
People
I know
confuse me.
completely. I think it goes back to what you do in life so many times. I did something for a living. People say, why? And I'm like, well, I was driving across 520 one day and I was knotted up, that pit in my stomach, just didn't want to go. And just talked to some financial guys. And I remember thinking to myself, what the fuck am I doing? And I just was on 520 bridge and I said, there's a reason I'm driving on this bridge right now. I don't know what the hell it is, and I do not like it, but I'm going to go over there and meet with these people. Of course, when I walk in, I look like, the middle of the show. Hey guys, what's up?
Yeah.
And they're like, look at that Mark. He really has his shit together. I get back out in my car. I'm like, oh, fuck. I remember thinking, just make it to when they loan you the money. Just make it to when you loan you the money and don't let them know until then. Don't let them know. Don't let them know. And I didn't. Then I thought if they find out now, they're going to take it back. Now I can tell them, listen, nuts.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I thought as we close up here, there's so many cool subjects, that you're touching on that, I'll try and get this without getting into a massive length.
Okay.
You're raised in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Not, I don't think, an easy neighborhood. I'm suspecting. I don't know where you were raised within the city. But were you raised in a nasty neighborhood or out in the suburbs? Or?
It wasn't the worst neighborhood in the city. It's funny, like, when I tell people from Detroit, where I'm from, I think I kind of downplayed it a little bit. Like, it wasn't that bad. No. No. Everything's relative. Yeah, because my daddy grew up in the projects. Like, he grew up in the Brewster projects, which is just Google Brewster projects. But so compared to that, this isn't the Brewsters, but so it would be categorized in the school of hard knocks for sure.
Okay. Well, who knows? I mean, I'm white kid from a suburban neighborhood, well taken up, and I could never figure out right next to West Philly. I used to think, man, why'd that kid get screwed? Why the hell am I over 1 mile the other way, and that kid over there is,
that goes back to you can't control your circumstances.
Yeah. I don't get it. Whatever. Just thanks. I didn't get. Thanks. That wasn't my guilt. Oh no, who knows? Everything's relative. I might have pulled it off, but.
Well, everything's different for different people too. Like there are situations that I would love to be in that I think you would consider like, oh, this is incredibly difficult, and vice versa. I'm pretty sure that there's situations you'd love to be in, and I'm like, oh, this is incredibly difficult. So that's a part of it too, you know, if that makes sense.
No, it does. I mean, everything's relative. You know. I used to think, you think you got money. Well, stop that right now, because somebody's looking down at you as though you're poor.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, look at that poor guy. He's doing a podcast. He's not getting paid any money. He has to talk to Joe Barksdale.
Where'd he find that guy? Like,
dredged him up.
this guy talking to that future dead body over there. No. I mean, we're all future dead bodies.
We're all going to be future dead bodies. Just when, you know. Stick around. Okay,
Yeah.
I got you on the show. We just can't be in memorial.
Oh, no. When I say future dead bodies, I just mean like we're all gonna die.
Oh yeah, we're all. I just watched my wife's mother passed away at 94, and she's having. I am. She's not my mother,
Right.
and she's just terribly sad, and there's nothing you can say. It's like trying to talk somebody out of being depressed. You know what? And then as a husband, typical man, I'm trying to say things that solve it. Like, oh, something along some stupid things like, well, she didn't suffer too long. Gee, thanks. That really solved the problem. You did everything you could.
Yeah. Sometimes, and I don't know. Speaking of being there for hurting people, I don't know who's listening to this. But sometimes it just, most times when it comes to these kind of things, it just helps to be there. Like, you don't need to say anything. Like, you put yourself in that person's shoes. You didn't want anybody to say anything. You just want to know that someone was there,
Yeah.
Like, it's, I know in society, and I even see it just when people talking in general, like, people don't even think before they talk when they have conversations anymore. They just sit there and they're quiet until it's their turn to talk again. Like there's no exchange of information or, communicating of ideals. It's just, well, this is what I think. 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 So I think that like in society, because these conversations, because even if you go back, like conversations were longer because people were thinking before they responded and they were actually listening to what was being said. Mm-hmm. But I think that that's bled over into society to the point that you just feel like if you're sitting around and there's a second of silence, it's, it's supposed to be none of that.
Yeah. The biggest sales technique is, what's it cost, Mark? 50 cents. Don't say another word. Shut up. Silence is the most powerful negotiating tool. Young people cannot do it.
No. It's also
cents.
a powerful comforter.
So I used to just pick a spot on the wall. Like pick a spot above your head, say 50 cents. Just sit there. Terribly uncomfortable. But silence is actually a beautiful thing. All right, so let's say this. Listen, I'm getting a little sick of Joe. He's getting a little sick of me. Before you know it,
I could be here all day.
I could too, actually.
Yeah,
I could enjoy it. It's you get to become kindred souls when you start knowing, the shit that went on in your life. Mm-hmm. And but let me do this. I just wanted to say, wow, it's been really cool. When you look at you, or on YouTube or this or that. And thankfully, I listened to the one about your depression. But it's not what you think. And then when you sit down and, obviously this is something that was on your mind and good for me. Cause I just I'm like, wow, it's very real conversation. And, well, let's do this. Are you plug anything? Let's hear, what is it that you're doing now, that you'd like to have our audience know about, or anything that you consider to be helpful?
I started an Instagram page. It'll eventually grow into like a website, hopefully a community, called Reflections on Redemption. Just little helpful posts. I'm trying to create a community of, the tagline is like strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Along the lines of the ministry thing that we talked about earlier. It's weird out of all the things that but yeah, that's that's what I would like to promote.
And that's come again, strength.
Oh, it's called Reflections on Redemption.
That's a good job. I say strength.
Oh no, strength for today, hope for tomorrow.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, you good.
Yeah,
it's I mean, there's enough people telling you that you're going to hell and why you're going to hell and all that kind of stuff. That's not me. Like I have different life experiences, so I approach it differently. You know, I know what it's like to hurt. I know what it's like to be in pain. I know what it's like to like lay down in bed and look up at the ceiling, terrified that I got to wake up and live this life tomorrow. I get it, you know, and I want to be a resource for those people.
Well, that is a. Well, what more could you ask for people to try and help out? You probably don't hear that like any of us who are down there, but you know, or feel. Hopefully, you do. And obviously you picked a path, so something is driving you that direction.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of times you say, you know, why did you do and how? It sounds to me like you've basically covered those subjects. It's supposed to be the big, you know, punch. Why did you do it and how? You know, wait, who? Oh, shit, I don't know. You know, why the hell are you here?
Why did I do it? Because I finally have compassion. I think for the longest time I told myself I was the only one in the world that suffered and that no one gets it and all those other kind of things. But I do it for that and because I know how it feels. And how could you in good conscience know how it feels to be in extreme pain and not endeavor to help alleviate others in any way you can after you realize that like you'll probably be like this for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. No, I do. I do.
Yeah, that's what I give my that's why I do it, to help people, because you know, I don't know, because as a person I want help, need help, you know. And I know I know I do it because I know what it's like and because I care. And the other one was how. Mm-hmm. One step at a time.
Yeah.
You know,
One day at a time.
One day at a time.
Yeah. Hey, well, listen. Thank you so much.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine.
I'm just psyched to have you in here.
Thanks for having me.
Wonderful personality.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I hope I wasn't too sad.
No, it's come on. You know, I mean, it's very, very real, and I think people need to know that because you're sitting around, you have this image. And it's really important to break it down.
Yeah,
it really is. You know, you help people. You know, you may not hear that, but I know I hear it.
I appreciate it.
You know, I know a lot of people who need to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, with that, we're done.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Hey, man, you're very welcome. Thank you for listening to The Mark Howley Show. If you found this story as intriguing as we did, give us a like, share the episode, and subscribe. For other stories like this one, you can check us out wherever you stream your content at The Mark Howley Show. New episodes every other Friday. Adios.